The Harappan society was developed near the Indus River, which was a great benefit for irrigation of crops. It was because of the surplus of crops that made the population expand. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were two large cities that greatly counted on the agricultural surplus. They were probably economic and political centers due to their city walls, and they also must have been the places for collection and redistribution of taxes. Both had marketplaces, temples, residential districts, and streets. They exchanged tools, pottery, and other items with Persia and the Hindu Kush mountains in exchange for gold, silver, gems, lead, and copper. They also exchanged with Mesopotamia for ivory, pearls, and semi-precious stones. There was a distinction noticeable between the rich and the poor. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, some lived in homes with 2 or 3 stories and plenty of rooms, however, others lived in one-room spaces. The Harappans acknowledged gods and goddesses associated with creation and procreation. Scholars believe there is a connection of Harappan deities in Hindu since fertility and procreation are common in Hinduism. The Harappan society began to decline around 1900 BCE due to deforestation. Inhabitants needed land for cultivation and firewood. However, over time, rainfall reduced and the Indus Valley became a desert. Flooding and earthquakes also contributed to the decline since unburied skeletons have been found indicating people must have died due to being unable to escape a disaster. The Aryans held a pastoral economy as opposed to settling in one place. They ate beef and dairy products and even measured wealth depending on herds of cattle. The Aryans communicated with one another through their language. Sanskrit, however, didn't use writing. They did compose poems and songs. Most popular were the Vedas, which were hymns, prayers, and songs that were meant to honor several gods. The Aryans held a strong social order to differentiate the social classes. The Aryans considered themselves wheat-colored and the Dravidians as dark-skinned. The 4 classes were priests, warriors, and aristocrats, cultivators, artisans, and merchants, and then there were the peasants and serfs. A couple centuries later, the untouchables category was added to identify those who worked with dead bodies or butchered animals. The Aryans built a strong patriarchal social order based on gender distinction. At the time, men dominated the Aryan society. Women influenced affairs in their family but didn't have public authority. Women were under authority of men. The Law Book of Manu dealt with proper moral behavior and social relationships. It advised men to treat women with honor and respect, but the women were to remain subject to the men's guidance. The Aryans' chief deity was this violent, drunk, and boisterous god Indra. To win the favor of their gods, they performed at least 5 sacrifices a day, including cattle, sheep, goats, and horses. In doing so, Aryans believed they would gain divine support from the god. The Upanishads believe that humans aren't separate creatures. They believed in Brahman, which is that everyone participates in a larger cosmic order and creates a small part of a universal soul. Authors of Upanishads believe the individual souls were born into the physical world many times as plants, animals, and humans. The Upanishads developed doctrines to explain this thought, such as samsara, karma, and Upanishad. The doctrines karma and samsara enforced the Vedic order. The Upanishads influenced Indian thought about the nature of the world. They advocated honesty, self-control, charity, mercy, and personal integrity.